without a boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast, didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't shining like it's neon, rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away? Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away?
Hello everyone, how you doing? Welcome to Tottenham Way. It's the Friday talk show with myself and Matt, my partner in crime. We've got a few bits to talk about today. Plenty going on at Spurs, even though the transfer window's not open. Matt, listen, I don't know whether we're the Spurs fan channel, whether we're life coaching, a counselling channel, Jerry Springer. I don't know what we are anymore, but welcome to the circus. How you doing?
Yeah, it's the House of Pain. You know, we're in the news. You know, Tottenham Hotspur. If you're a Tottenham Hotspur fan, do you know? Someone asked me when I first moved to Birmingham, and they said, what do you support Spurs? You know, in school, what do you support Spurs? And just you can't be a glory hunter. And I just said, look, I grew up down the road, you know, Edmonton, it's 200, 300 yards from the stadium. I'm a Spurs fan. And ever since then, work, I'm at a party, and they say, well, why Spurs? And I think it's just, I enjoy the pain. I guess I just enjoy the pain. One day we will get to the promised land. So, yeah, it's another day in the House of Pain.
Why Spurs? That's a good. Do you know we should do a show one day, just call it Why Spurs, and see what we come up with. We'll get as many people on and just see why did we do this.
Yeah.
Big up to East Coach, new channel member, by the way. Thanks for being a member. Big up to everyone in the chat. Quickly try and go for a few. Disabled team, big up. Tony in the house, Tom, Ronnie, Lucky, Eugene, Bertie Hotspur. Hope you're well, Swifty, Huddersfield Town, Jano, Sammy, George, Tipa Katon, Paul, Rob's in the house, Siraj, Robert, Dio, channel member, big up to you. Julie, Brian Daigle's in the house, big up, Brian. Robert, Jason, Beyond 72, Scott M, Adrian's Wall, hope you are doing well. A users in the house. Richie, how you doing? Daryl Denton, big up. Swifty, 101 man. Paul's in the house. John Lawton, Ryan's in the building. Benjamin Foster, Sue Smith, Rich, Kudos, Razor, Zafaguna, Harmless Potato, Rob Ski, Lily White Lane, aka Robbie, Totspur, Adrian Gregory. Is there anyone else? Ken Alexander, Axel, Darren, Alex, Liam, International Observer. Big up to each and every one of you. Smash a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you don't want to subscribe, like, or hit the notification bell, then don't do it. Big up to Minerals FC and to Advatron right at the end. Big up, and big up Anthony there at the end as well. How you doing? David too. Hello. Matt, we got to start here because there's nowhere else to begin. Okay? This Timo Werner, it's like someone's thrown a grenade into onto social media, and then it's been followed up with a rocket launcher, a missile strike, a nuclear bomb's about to go off. It's insane, man. Like, I just want to go for a few little bits, and then you can break it down from your perspective, okay? So as soon as we signed Timo Werner, there was sections of the fan base that were happy, sections of the fan base that were really unhappy, okay? I made it clear that if we signed Timo, this was my non-negotiable. So even before the window opens, the non-negotiables triggered, and that's just left me, down and out with it. But you've got fans saying what's interesting about signing Timo Werner and that Richarlison might be staying is that they're not going to be first choice, but they still want to be at the club. Therefore, Ange must be building something special. You don't hear any moaning. I kind of think who else is going to pay these players these kinds of salaries at another club? That's my take, but his opinion is that clearly something special is going on. Then you've got fans saying that other fans criticize things and they shouldn't criticize. You've got fans saying to those that don't want Timo, if you seriously have an issue with the loan deal as a bench player, you just don't understand the first thing about football, transfer and finances. So you've got one side belittling the other. You clearly don't understand what's going on. Then you've got Talk Sport, Danny Murphy admitting that he's perplexed why Spurs have signed him. And Simon Jordan, who is the kind of mouthpiece for Daniel Levy on Talk Sport normally, even he said, I don't understand it. Even Simon Jordan is a bit surprised by the signing. So you're getting all these different factions and views and people surprised. And then you've got kind of my stance on it, which is what this platform said. It does seem nothing has changed at Tottenham, doesn't it? Posting a picture of Werner in a Spurs kit. But what one that surprised me a bit was expressions. He came out saying he's totally against it. That's not what surprised me. It's the response. He got pelters. People went for expressions, someone that people don't normally go for. They went after him. Oh, yeah. Oh, mate. And then he had to put out a response. And he said, so because I've got a big platform, I can't have an opinion, because he was criticized for having a big platform and he shouldn't put out anti-Werner opinion. So he hit back saying that he's allowed to say what he wants, regardless of the platform size. And Expression said, everything I've said about Timo Werner are the same things Tottenham fans laughed about when he played for Chelsea, but now he's a Spurs player I'm driving hate, because he was Expressions was accused of driving hate. And then he put, my guys, let's pretend we've signed Vinicius Jr. So even he got it full on. And then people are saying, you're entitled if you don't want Timo Werner. If you think we should have better, you're entitled. And, entitled means that we think we deserve some kind of privilege or special treatment. And Matt, listen, I could go on and on and on and on. This is such a circus, man. And we haven't even started. What do you make of it? And I need to remind you, Matt, you and I have been going back and forth all of last season about the transfer window coming up. And I told you I was scared. And you said to me, Stel, we're not signing Timo Werner. We're not going to sign. Ta-da! You've been levied. You have been levied, Matt. Talk to me.
Yeah. So look, there's a lot to unpick on what you've just been showing. And look, ultimately, we are success starved. We're absolutely craving a good transfer window. We're craving success. So I understand the desperation and the panic. We kind of like the first signing, the first unveilment is the first present that you unwrap on Christmas Day. You want it to be this big, superb present, and it's Timo Werner. It's a pair of socks or whatever else. So it kind of is anticlimactic. I personally didn't think that we were going to sign Timo Werner, because all the evidence is suggesting that we've hired an extensive recruitment team, that these plans have been put in place before Christmas to fix, plug, and add in the right areas to the squad.
So are you wrong on that now then? Are you wrong on that?
Absolutely. Listen, I didn't think we would sign Timo Werner. I genuinely thought that we would have said, thank you, there's the handshake, and off you go into the sunset, and we go again. I just didn't see Timo Werner coming back. So that's a disappointment. He wasn't a player that I thought that we should have gone for. However, I've said on a lot of your shows that September the 1st will be a much stronger outfit than we were in April, March, May, and so on. And I still maintain that. Is that a strong enough outfit to compete for major honours? Doubtful. But yeah, I've got to be honest, I was disappointed with the signing. I just thought that surely there were better examples out there that we could have gone for. And it almost appeared like we were being held to ransom by Leipzig, that this clause has to be activated by this date. And I was thinking, well, hang on a minute. Timo Werner is not going to be snapped up by many clubs. So surely Spurs should be in the driving seat to say, why don't Spurs do what Spurs do and drag it out and drag it out and drag it out? But we've kind of moved so quickly, which was disappointing. But I still think we will make signings. I still think we will make additions that will improve the front forward line.
But Matt, why have we signed Timo Werner? Because it's not just the fact that, but he's a backup. He's the third highest paid player at the club. Romero is getting paid. World Cup winning Romero is getting paid less. Van der Ven, Porro, Udogie, Vicario, they're all getting paid less. How is that going to keep them happy?
Look, I don't think that will affect morale or anything like that. I don't think professionals ask the kind of the other players what are you on when I'm signing? You know, that's you're a professional footballer, you do your job. But it's only the only disappointment is, you know, is that really the player that we should recruit? I don't see the significance of it. You know, forget the wages for a moment. I just think that, you know, we need to improve in the forward line. That's been evident. His interviews, he said, there's no secret that we need to improve in the forward line. And one of the players that never really pulled up any trees in that forward line, we have the opportunity to hand back. It's not like we've committed to a 4 or 5 year deal. We could hand him back, and that's the sadness for me, that we've said, let's have another try. Let's try him again. I don't understand if he'd say Kulusevski. When we signed Kulusevski in January, he was fantastic, wasn't he? So that, had we have signed Timo Werner, had he have had the Kulusevski effect from January to the end of that season where we got fourth, then I would understand us rushing to sign him on another deal. But he was okay. Would you say? How would you surmise Timo Werner's loan period? Okay. How would you? I don't think. No, I don't. I wouldn't agree with that. Go on.
Okay, Matt. Big misses 5. Worst shot conversion rate, Timo Werner. Lowest number of goals scored out of the front attacking players, Timo Werner. Shooting accuracy, who is the worst? Timo Werner. Every shooting, scoring metric, he is bottom. The only one he wasn't bottom was big misses. Brennan Johnson had 17, which is off the charts. But he offers us nothing as an attacking forward other than once in a while he puts in a good cross low on the ground. Once in a while. That's why no club touches him. That's why at Leipzig he's not played for them hardly. That's why they can't wait to get rid of him. But yet at Spurs, come to us. And this thing about backup, he's not coming as a backup. There's a comment earlier. I don't think he's coming as a backup. I think he's going to get quite a lot of game time. And I also think that to even call him a backup is wrong. I don't think there's such a thing as a backup. I think you've got players that compete to start the way Trossard competed to start at Arsenal. I'm not here to sit on the bench. I'm going to compete to start. And I'm going to try and oust one of the regulars, like a Martinelli, for example. We don't have that with Timo Werner. What we've signed isn't a backup, it's a drop-off. So let's say we sign, just for example, let's say we sign Eze and Werner's the backup. Or let's say Son's going to play out left and Werner's the backup. If Son gets injured or if Son has international duty, Werner comes on, he's not a backup, he's a drop-off. Just like Harry Winks was a drop-off for Victor Wanyama. Just like Eric Dyer was a drop-off for Toby Alderweireld. Just like Loriente was a drop-off for Harry Kane. That's why we want nothing, because when we're forced to make changes, whether it's tactical, performance-driven, injury, international duty, what comes off the bench is the difference. And if Timo Werner is the answer, we're screwed. And that's what I'm being told. When we signed him, everyone was saying, calm down, it's only a 6-month deal, there's not a lot of money involved, low risk. If he doesn't perform, we're not committed to signing him. Well, he came, we tested the waters, he didn't perform, he's now injured. And what we've done is we've said, right, we've tested you, you didn't do that great, we're going to keep you, put you on the 3rd highest wages in the club, and you're injured. My perspective is, Ange is a yes man. I think Ange, to accept this is mind-blowing, especially if he thinks we're going to challenge for a title. And this is why fans are so divided, because I think a lot of fans sing from my hymn book on this, but the other side of the coin, look at the financials. Look at the few metrics of him going down the wing. And even Flav from the Fighting Cock today, he went on Talk Sport saying it's a good signing. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Well, I do get it. It's called Levy. It's called Enoch. I do get it. I totally get it. But I really thought Ange might change that. I don't think he's going to change it.
Look, I
don't at all. I don't believe in the project.
It's a big if.
I was telling you about this. I was telling you about this before. But
it's a big if still. But if he does as he says, which he said, this is Ange, that there is no secret that the forward areas we need improvement. We need personnel. So what I would say is, if Werner is a player that, let's say we've got Son, and then we go and get Neto. Let's say we sign Neto and Eze, or we sign Kingsley Common. Let's say we buy 2 attackers that can play left, in the middle, or on the right, so they can be versatile forwards. And you've still got Timo Werner. That's the best of a bad bunch. You know, I wouldn't have signed Timo Werner. I've made that abundantly clear in the shows with you. I wouldn't have gone for Timo Werner. But if he's third,
so Matt, if you wouldn't have gone for him, how are you now trying to justify it? Like, I'm not calling.
No, I'm not justifying it. I'm just.
It feels like it does feel like you're kind of now saying, do you know what? If we do A, B, and C, the Timo Werner deal's okay. But then if that was the case, then you wouldn't have said you didn't want him before, right?
Listen, there was no day in any year that I would go as a recruitment person or as a scout or as a coach or as a manager and say, let's sign Timo Werner. Let's make that abundantly clear. What I'm saying is he's here. Wouldn't have been my choice. The only way that Spurs can improve is if they still go out and get 2 attackers that can cover those front 3 places. And I've given examples of, if we go out and get an Ivan Toney that plays down the middle, and then you go and get a versatile forward that can play left and right, and you've still got Timo Werner as 3rd or 4th choice. It's not ideal, but it's what you call a pair of socks under the Christmas tree. It's there. It's a stocking filler. It wouldn't have been my choice, but what can we do? We can't undo it. We don't have the power to undo it. I still support the club. I still support Ange. So I'm trying to be advocate.
See, you say, what can we do? What we can do is not accept it. Like, as a fan base, no, this isn't on. This isn't what we were promised. Is this why we built a £1 billion stadium? Is this what it was about? So we can bring a washed out German football player that even the club that he made his name at don't want him. And yet half our fan base are like, yeah, I get it. Makes sense. Good on us. Where the other half of the fan base are like, no, absolutely not. Hell no. This is outrageous. You're right. We can't reverse the deal. We can't reverse the deal. I agree with that. But I've lost belief for the project, Matt. I've genuinely lost belief for this project.
What I'm trying to do is think of it and say, look, if in that stocking there are a couple of gems in there in the forward line. I don't mean a gem as a number 6. I don't mean a gem as a backup goalkeeper or a gem as a left-sided centre half. I mean, if we've got another 2 gems that can play in the front 3 alongside Son and Richarlison and Werner, I would say, look, in an ideal world, I'd get him the you-not-what out of here. But he's here. What can we do? I'm going to try and put my positive energy into what else have we got. You know, I bet you still, if you ask an Arsenal fan, if you ask a Newcastle fan, there's probably one or two players that they say, why is he here? Why have we signed him? Why is he here? Why is he still here?
Yeah, but
I guess he's going to be one of those for us.
There's a lot of but that's the problem. You see, that is the problem, because Arsenal fans, they point the finger at Arteta's decision to give Eddie Nketiah a new contract on 100 grand a week. And when they were looking for those goals in those key games where they couldn't score at Aston Villa away, or where they couldn't score against Newcastle away and Aston Villa at home, they're saying, do you know what? If we didn't keep Eddie Nketiah and we actually bought someone a bit more proficient, would we be in this situation? So they can say that, but that's why they don't win trophies either. Whereas for us, starved of trophies, desperate for success, winning nothing every single season, we're looking now at Timo Werner as a potential option in games. Like,
okay, a guy here just
crazy.
Mentioned a player, Kamada, played for Frankfurt. He's a free transfer. He can play left, he can play right. Two-footed, not quite the Son, but of that ilk. Played for Eintracht Frankfurt. I think he's 28 years of age. What a player. Glasner's in for him. Obviously, he managed him at Frankfurt. What a player. Now, there's a player that could have done Werner's job. He's much more prolific. He's much more dynamic on the ball, and he scores off both feet. There was a player that, if you're going to do this low-cost option player, that's a player Tottenham should have gone for. Because what I will agree with is sometimes it's like, well, who else? So the guy, Kamada, if you Google him, I'm not sure if he's Japanese or Korean.
Matt, that's my point. But that's my point. We haven't done that. We've gone for Timo. That's the whole argument.
Deshaun Skyers. Just click on that one. 534. Kamada. What a player he is. What a player. Left-footed, right-footed.
Right. This. By the way, Harry, I'll come onto this super chat after we speak about Timo. I haven't forgotten it. See, now this is my issue now. This is my big issue. I was sold this notion that Ange Postecoglou is going to unearth gems in Asia, the Far East, Australasia. He knows the markets like nobody else. Since he's come, we've signed, including young players, 11 players. Not one of them is from the Far East, Asia, Australasia. Not one. I was also told he's really good with the youth. He understands the importance of the connection between academy and first team. I haven't seen one academy team player play 90 minutes for this team. Not one. He's had chances. So by signing Timo Werner, that's one less player from the Far East that you're going to bring in because you're giving the position to Timo Werner. And that's one less youngster in the squad because you're giving it to Timo Werner. And yet we've got a couple of under 21s and a couple of under 18s that people are saying, hold on a minute, why aren't they getting a chance? At least give them a chance. This Timo Werner deal stinks of the opposite of what I was told about Ange Postecoglou, what he brings to the table, and the opposite of this big change with Scott Munn, data analytics. Are you telling me our data analytics team said, yeah, Timo Werner? That's what the data says. Matt, I'm gobsmacked. I'm genuinely stunned.
He's underwhelming. I hear you loud and clear, my brother. He's underwhelming. However, if we as a football club improve in other signings this transfer window that hasn't opened yet, let's have that conversation again. And I get it.
But why they,
hang on.
Yeah.
You're still going to say, yeah, but Matt, we still signed Werner. And I understand that. That is the knee in the groin that none of us wanted. But, let's hope in that next batch of signings, there is a Eze, there is a Tony, there is a Jimenez, there is a Palacios. Let's hope there's 2 or 3 in that next batch. Let's hope.
Yeah, but we can do that. I don't think it fixes it for me because like I said, people are looking at Arteta and saying, you kept Nketiah. Why did you sign this Pablo Vieira guy for £35 million? Why did you sign Zinchenko? These signings have cost us. This is part of the reason we fell short coming the end of the season. So by us signing Timo Werner, we are giving a reason as to why we're going to fall short. Because we are going to have a component in the squad that at some point will get game time and cost us. And this is why I'm just... we could sign Eze Elise Caravascalia. Timo Werner's going to get game time. And when he gets that game time, we drop off. And against a good team, that's the difference. And those good teams are the ones we're going to play in semi-finals and finals if we get there. And that's why I'm just... I don't know if this... And Matt, do you think we're going to sign 3 or 4 really good players, by the way? Do you think that's what we're going to do?
Do I think in this transfer window we're going to sign... I'm going to say we're going to sign 3 really good players this transfer window. Really good.
Even though you said that we weren't going to sign Timo Werner, it's not going to happen.
I agree.
Even though you said that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're going to sign 3 really good players. And when I say really good players, they might not come off the tip of your tongue. There might be an Adoji. There might be a Van der Ven that you don't naturally go, wow. But I think if we get the players that can fit the system and the style that Ange wants going forward, some of all the parts. So I think it might just click. So you might take that player out of Juventus and think, lukewarm, but you put him in that Tottenham team under certain specific style of play, and his level may, it may excel. Was Van der Ven? Why didn't Real Madrid go for Van der Ven? Why didn't AC Milan go for Van der Ven?
No, I get it, but we know what Timo Werner's about. He was on trial at Spurs. Like, he's been on trial for half a season. He's had time to show us what he's about. And we play with an attacking 3. If you can't score, how can you play in an attacking 3?
Look, I would be amazed. I would be amazed if he starts. I'll be amazed if he starts.
No way will I be amazed.
I'll be amazed if he starts. Honestly, I will be amazed. I think Son will go back to the left, and I think there will be a frontline number 9 signed this transfer window. And I think Timo Werner will be 20 minutes in games, the odd midweek game, and the Europa. I don't want to discredit the Europa League, but some of the games that we were shooing to win or we're shooing to qualify, I think Timo Werner will start in those games. I'll be amazed next season if Timo Werner start the season in our best 11. How good is this guy? Razor Blazer. Is that his name? Omar Mamouche. That's a player that Tottenham need to get. Another one. What a player. And by the way, we scouted him. He played with Van der Ven at Wolfsburg, and we scouted him then, and we bid £15 million, and they wanted £25 million last season. What a player he is. Egyptian. Can play left, can play centre, can play right. What a player.
I think we're going to buy one player to appease the fans, and I think the rest is going to be hugely underwhelming. That's my prediction. I've just got that feeling that they're not going to spend much.
You say one. I say 3. September 1st. Let's have a review show. I think we're going to get 3. I'm not saying they're going to be £50 million signings. I don't think that, but I think they'll be a Doji-esque when they come in. You'll be like, oh, that's what I think.
Anyone that thinks we're going to challenge for a league title and Timo Werner is going to be part of that,
forget that.
That's my point.
Titles.
So what are we going for then? What are we going to try and do
to be better and see where that takes us? I don't want to get too far ahead. So
Matt, what would you accept? What would you accept next season? Because I tell you what, Arsenal might be favourites to win the league if they buy a striker and a left back. They might be favourites, okay? So if we see them go and lift the league title next year, what we're just going to sit and saying, well, as long as we go from 5th to 4th and we get past round 1 of the Carabao Cup, we've improved. Is that where we're going to be at? Is that what we're saying?
No, but this is the part I will agree with Ange. We got to run our race. You know, I think, listen, as frustrating as it is to see Arsenal improving window after window, we've got to run our race and see where that takes us. If we focus too much on the lane to the right and to the lane to the left, we may trip ourselves up. So what we've got to try and do in this transfer window is improve en masse in key positions with signings that are going to be effective August. Not 2 Augusts away, this August. And I think there'll be 3 players that will be signed this summer that will be able to make an impact come this season. That's what I think we're going to do. And they might come out of...
Matt, who are we going to sign? Name me these 3 players. Who are we going to sign?
I think Eze. I think there's a good chance that we'll probably sign Eze. I think it will be one of an Ivan Toney or a Jimenez. There's 2. And I think there'll be a red herring that will come in. I think there'll be a red herring that will come in that you'll go, ooh. And they'll just slot in. When I say slot in, may not be in the first 11, but when they play their games, there will be no drop off from the first 11. That might be a number 6, because I'm still hoping that Basuma gets his boots pointing the right way. I'm hoping Bentancur, because all the medical experts are predicting that next season, as in this season coming, is when Bentancur will start to really hit his straps again. So if we can get Basuma and Bentancur back to anything like the form that they have shown, granted not consistently, but over a longer period than they have this season, and then we bring in another midfield general with them, that automatically strengthens the spine of the team.
I don't think Eze's coming to Spurs personally. Jimenez, maybe. If we act early before other clubs do, maybe. But I don't think we'll get Eze. I think Elise and Eze, one of them will leave and go to another club, a bigger club than us. And I think the other one will stay at Crystal Palace with Glasner. I think Glasner might be able to keep them. I think he's got a bit of pull about him. So,
but if the story's right, Elise's got a buyout clause, so I think that might be taken out of Palace's hands on Elise. If the story's true, he's got a buyout clause.
Well, how much is the buyout clause?
I think it's something like 55, 60 million, I think.
I don't think we're going to spend that money this window on one player. I don't think we will.
That's Elise. Elise's buyout clause.
Elise, yeah. Harry Lawrence, thanks for the super chat. He says, what's your view on being linked to Emiti Cabernet?
Is that for me or for you? Do you want to take that or me?
No, go for it. Go for it.
I like him. He's a good player. You have to caution it when we're linked or we're monitoring or we're keeping an eye on. I'm not sure how far we are down the road with that one, but yeah, I do like him. How about yourself?
Who does he play for? Who does he play for?
Hang on, I don't know the name of the team.
I don't think I know this player.
No, he's a good player. He's a good player still.
What positions he play? Oh, this guy.
He's a good player still.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll get him if I'm honest with you.
I've seen a little bit. I know I'm 50-50 on this. I'm 50-50.
When they say we're linked, when we say we linked,
we're viewing, we're linked, we're speaking, we're observing, we're watching. I'm 50-50. I'm not totally convinced he'll adapt to Premier League.
I think the guy that I heard we were very close to, for whatever reason, that's gone really quiet. That Amura, the wide player, we'd bid 17 million for him in the close season. I'm still hoping that happens. He plays for Union SG.
There's so many players like that you could look at and bring. The one that we have been linked to that I do like, I always get his name wrong, is the wing back. I think he's at is it Genoa? Calafiorese? I get his name wrong every time.
Who?
He's the wing back in Italy. Is it Calafiori? I always get his name wrong. He looks actually very, very good.
The one
really
who plays for
good.
Juventus?
No, he's not. He's not a Juventus player. Does anyone know the name of the player, guys, in the comments? Mate, Matt.
Who? What?
Hold on a minute. 1 second. Has that guy spelt the name wrong? Because I got Samuel and Titi. Hold on. I think we've been. I knew it. I knew that's
the one.
Mate,
That...
Matt, we've just been mugged off. Emiti Cabernet.
Oh, I thought they were talking about the guy that...
Mate.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Mate, I'm looking at I've got Titi, not Emiti. I think he's taking a mic. I think he's trying to say empty cabinet. We've been.
I thought he was on about the forward that was at PSG, the young forward.
No.
He's called Emiti. Hang on, let me get his name. The guy.
Mate, it's not. I think we've been punked. Oh my lord!
Is it?
Because you know what? I was trying because I was looking at Titi, who plays for the Cameroonian player. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure he can adapt. I think he's just winding us up. This guy. But
there's a guy with a similar first name. He's a centre forward. I think he plays in the front three. He's a light skinned guy. I'm sure it is. He's the same name, Emiti.
Mate, that's funny. That's fucking hilarious.
I'm sure he plays for PSG.
Oh, that's brilliant. Harry, you got us, man. You got us. He probably threw me. Like, who's Emiti Cabernet? I've not heard of this player. I'm like, Matt, you tell us about him, because I've got the internet, and the player I thought he meant Titi.
There's a
anyway
Titi or Kiti. There's the forward with a similar name.
Yeah. He got us good, man. He got us. London bro, big up for the super sticker. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, bro. Big up. We're gonna get so punked for that. We're gonna get so punked. Do you know, I got done the other day by another one.
That's it, Ikiti. That's the name. Dawn Skies, Ikiti. That's the guy I thought he meant.
Harry, did you mean that, or did you? No, he didn't mean that. He got us. He didn't mean that. So you thought he meant Ikiti. I thought he meant Umtiti.
Ikiti, that's the guy I thought he meant.
Who does Ikiti play for?
He used to play for PSG, but I think he's gone on loan. He's a light-skinned guy. He can play left forward or centre forward. I'm sure he's on loan from PSG. There we go. Frankfurt Guna. You're meaning Ugo? That's the guy. That's the guy.
I don't know.
That's the guy I thought he meant.
I'm never going to pretend I know this one.
No, he's a good player. I think we were linked with this guy, Ikiti. I think he's only 21 now. I think he was 19 when we were linked with him.
We're linked with most players. Let's be honest. We're going to be linked with 98 players, of which only one will get, and the rest will just come out of nowhere that we didn't know. I wanted to ask you, Matt, right? Because we're talking about, we've got Timo Werner. If we bring in other players, you know, it'll all make sense, or we'll feel better about it. Well, the Alistair Gold today reported this. No approach yet, but understand Spurs are keeping an eye on the situation with Marcus Edwards for a number of reasons explained. So click on the link, and the link says Tottenham are considering transfer swoop to re-sign former player for one very specific reason. And when I read down the rest of the story, the reason is homegrown quota. Listen, if we bring him back, it just gets from bad to worse for me. He's not good enough at this level that we want. Not what we want to achieve. Yeah, he's had a purple patch. Yeah, he's had good moments, but he's not that guy. And we're going to pay to bring him for the home quota. Put Mikey Moore, put Donnelly, put Lancashire, put Santiago, put Tyrese Hall into the squad. Put an academy player that will be on lower wages, that won't cost us money to buy. And there's your quota. Why are we looking at Marcus Edwards now, Matt?
Yeah, again.
Or is it all clickbait? Is it all ITK, shut up, not bothered what you say until they wear the shirt?
I would be surprised. I mean, we're not.
You said that about Timo Werner. You said that.
Yes. But I think most transfer windows we're linked with Marcus Edwards, aren't we? In the Porro, we was linked with. We will get him back as part of the Porro deal, and I wouldn't be a fan of that signing. He's a talented player. I'm not sure he's suited to the Premier League. I understand the homegrown situation, and we are a little bit short in the homegrown quota, but surely there's players that are closer to home that we can sign that can do that job, I know Mikey Moore's only 16, I get it, but what's the point of having Donnelly or Santiago if we're going back for Marcus Edwards? That would be one that wouldn't make any sense.
Imagine having an academy. If you're going to sell the academy players, then buy them back because you haven't got enough homegrown talent. Why have we got an academy? What for? It wouldn't make sense. And we would get less off the deal because Daniel Levy had to. He did get us. Harry, fair play, man. You got us. I'm not going to lie. You got us good. I will get you back though. I will find a way. I'm going to find you. Because when we signed Porro, Daniel Levy had to give up part of the fee that we would get if Marcus Edwards is sold, because he was at Lisbon at the time when we signed Porro, so he had to renegotiate the deal with Marcus Edwards.
Yeah.
So we will lose out should Marcus Edwards get sold to another club instead of coming to us. We're going to lose out if that happens now because he restructured that deal. So I listen. He left Spurs because I remember the word in the academy at the time when I was there was that he had a bad attitude. And when I spoke to friends of his that went to school with him, because he used to play in the pitches near me where I coach, so I know players that used to play with him. They all said to me he was just a bit of a rude boy, knocking around with the wrong crowd, thought he was a bit of a bad man and all that. And I think that's part of the reason why at Spurs it wasn't working. Maybe he's changed. People do change. You can't just judge people by their past like that. But is that what we want back in the camp potentially?
I'm just going to keep it simple to football ability. I just don't think he's of the required level to where we are trying to get to. I wouldn't understand that signing up. For me, thank you very much. You came from our academy. Go and have a great career somewhere else. But why would we go back for him, Walker Peters? I just don't see the sense. Thank you so much. Off you go. If he comes back and plays for Southampton or whatever, I wish him all the best. But it would be a very underwhelming signing if we were to bring him back. Surely.
I would I would literally shit myself of the meltdown from that one, because the Timo one's been quite special. The Marcus Edward one would be on another level, I think. But I'm not saying no to it because I think it could happen. I don't want him to come back, but I'm not going to say dismiss it. I think that's something that we probably might look to do. Harry Lawrence, another super chat. You've been done. Yes, we know, Harry. We know. Come on, you goons. Absolutely not. Never come on, you goons. Matt, more great news. Apparently, Richarlison's staying. Another one we thought that would be out. That Ange is going to get rid of him. Just you wait and see. Ange is going to get rid of him. Is he? Matt, I'm telling you, Ange is a yes man. I know you don't want to believe it. He is a yes man. This manager is scaring me by the week because he's accepting mediocrity and he's going down the same road that Nuno did and Poch, and he's going to end up falling flat on his face. Richarlison on links with exit in the summer. He said it's fake news. I won't leave England in the summer transfer window. I left my holidays to work in Brazil as I want to return at the best possible level next season. And then the person that put this out said, good on you, Richie. So we're looking at Brennan Johnson staying. We're looking at Richarlison staying. We're looking at Timo Werner. He's back. Kulu's staying. Where's the space for all these players that are going to come in, Matt? Where are all these wingers and attackers going to come in? Whose place are they going to take? Because we're keeping the failed bunch from last season. The failed attack that James Flower, who comes on our show on a regular, rightly says it's a championship level forward line. We're keeping them all. So I'm not convinced we're making these signings that you think, Matt. I really don't believe. I don't see it because where's the space? Who are they going to play in place of? Solomon, he's still here. Another one.
No, I think we got to let. I understand the panic stuff, but let's let the weeks play out before we.
It's not panic. It's fact. Richie isn't going anywhere. He said, "I'm not leaving. I'm not going."
No, he said he's not leaving England. He said he's not leaving England. He said he's not.
Matt, what club's going to pay the money to buy this guy in England? What club's got the money to buy Richarlison? Who's going to buy Richarlison?
A club like Spurs.
Exactly, he's staying. That's my point. He's staying.
Who thought Tottenham would stump up 60 million to sign Richarlison? Beforehand, though, if someone had said to you 6 months before, I think Tottenham were going to spend 60 million on Richarlison, what would you have said? Not a chance.
No, I would have said typical. No, I would have said typical Levy signing.
No. Oh, what, 60 million? Never. I would have never in a million years thought Levy would spend 60 million on Richarlison. Never.
We spent 65 on Ndombele. We spent 42
but he was
on
in form.
Sanchez.
When we signed him, he was a baller.
Davinson Sanchez, 42 million.
Yeah, but look, we still got to come up with the money. And will he go for 60 million? Will he go for 50 million? Of course he won't. But no. I still think there is.
Matt, he's staying
2 months.
Matt, Richarlison is going to be our striker next season.
Maybe he is. But what's to say that we don't go and get another number 9? So if we sign Tony, okay, let me ask you this: we sign Tony.
We're not going to sign Tony.
But hang on, if we sign Tony, right?
Yeah.
Are you telling me Richarlison plays ahead of Tony?
No.
Okay. So then, decision: does Richarlison fight for his place, or does he, with 2 or 3 weeks left of the transfer window, think this ain't working out for me? I want to move. And then all of a sudden he goes to Benfica, or all of a sudden he goes to Inter Milan with 2 weeks of the transfer window. Things happen still,
right,
you know.
Right. Clubs have to be prepared to pay the price for him, which they're not going to because he's crap. And they have to match his wages. So I don't see how he leaves. The only way I see him leaving is if we get one of those silly offers from one of the Middle Eastern clubs. And the wages are astronomical that makes him feel, do you know what? I'm going to double my wages and the club will be happy because they're going to get their money back. Then I see a move happening. But he said, I want to stay in England. And yeah, you're right. If we get a striker, he might be second fiddle. But then you still got the same problem, Matt. if the striker gets injured, if Son gets injured, we're back to Richarlison and Werner. It's the fact we're keeping them. See, I think everyone's forgetting what was said. Everyone said to me, we're going to get rid of Richarlison. You and many others said to me that Ange isn't stupid. Ange can see he's not good enough. He'll get rid of him. I bet you they all stay. Maybe Solomon is the only one that goes. I bet you Brennan Johnson 100% is here next season. Kulu will be here next season. Son will be here next season. Werner will be here next season. And so will Richarlison. That's 5. So we've got an attacking 3. There's 5 already here. I don't think we're going to make these like 2 or 3 signings for the attacking lineup, Matt. I don't believe it. That's why I'm so angry about this Werner signing, because that fills up one of the spaces.
No, this is what I...
Sorry to kill your optimism, right? I'm not trying to destroy your hope.
That's all right.
But
that's all right.
I'm just seeing the same problems again manifesting. Again, I can see that pattern of failure building. Again, I'm watching it. I'm folding in front of me.
If, let's say, Ivan Toney comes through the door, and then we've still got Richarlison there, right? And then Richarlison says, you know what? I'm going to get myself fit. I'm going to get myself right. And then Richarlison is still at Tottenham in September. And we've got Richarlison that can either come off the bench or play the odd midweek game. Is it the end of the world?
Mate, we can't have Werner and Richarlison and Kulu and Brennan at this club next season. Hang
on. Let's deal with that.
That's not a serious.
Let's deal. Hang on. Let's deal with that first. So if you got Ivan Toney as your spearhead, and he hits the ground running, and he picks himself, almost like what Van der Ven did. Come in, nobody asks any more questions about who's playing where. Van der Ven got that shirt. Take it off him if you dare. If Ivan Toney comes in and has a similar impact early on, not just in goals, but just in stature, dominates that ball, get that ball into me early. He's a focal point for the team. He puts the fear of up to the opposition, and all of a sudden we've got a figurehead up front. Are we too flustered that Richarlison's getting 10 minutes in some games and doing a Lo Celso cameos? Are we that bothered? I wouldn't be.
My biggest gripe with Spurs has always been it's what the alternative is when the key players get injured. What happens if Pekara gets injured? What happens if Van der Ven gets injured? What happens if Bentancur gets injured? What happens if Son gets injured? What happens then?
Good point.
And what I'm looking at is, as it stands now, I just see disaster. If we go and sign 3 good players, then Richarlison's on the bench, Werner's on the bench. It's not good enough. Why can't we just get rid of these players completely? Just get rid of them. Build.
Okay.
If we got rid of them and then we built, I'd get it. But we're keeping. I think we're going to keep Richarlison. We 100%. We've brought back Werner. We're looking at bringing in Marcus Edwards. It just stinks.
Yeah. Look, I don't think Richarlison. By the way, I don't think Richarlison. You can't go from Kane to Richarlison. I'm not saying Richarlison is the second coming at all. All I'm saying is if we were to bring in somebody like an Ivan Toney that is the focal point for the team, and you've still got Richarlison there, and let's just say he has another purple patch like he did in January, and he gets 8 in 7 or 9 in 8 or whatever, that supplements the forward line. I'll raise this question to you. If Saliba gets injured for Arsenal today, they don't have a replacement. I don't care what they say about Timber's not in the same conversation as
mate. Timo listen. He's not
Saliba, not in the same conversation. But he's a drop off.
He's a good player.
He's a drop off. He's not a massive. He's
not a big drop off.
Honestly,
he's not a big drop off. I disagree.
Saliba is a physical specimen that he leaves himself on a 1v1, whether it be Haaland, whether it be
Cannavaro. wasn't that tall, wasn't a physical specimen. He was an outstanding centre back. Martinez, short little player for Man United.
Timber's good. He's not
good
Saliba.
centre back.
He's not Saliba.
He's a different type of player, but he's good backup. He's not a drop off. Sorry, he's not backup. He's a player that can come in and do a very, very good job. Mate, he's a good player. I think Timber's a good son. He looked really good for Arsenal before he got injured.
Yeah, playing on the left. He didn't play down the middle. He played on the left, didn't he?
They've got Ben White.
The point I'm making is
Arsenal fans said he was one of their best players last season.
But the point I'm making is Arsenal are above us and ahead of us in their recruitment, in their strategy, and the manager's been there 4 or 5 seasons. So the point that I'm making here is this is in his first full transfer window, Ange. So your question is relevant. What are the substitutes?
His first full window, Matt, his first full window was last year. And he brought in Brennan Johnson, he brought in Werner, he brought in Veliz, he brought in Solomons, he brought in a Madison who completely dropped off second half of the season. He brought in Viskovic, that youngster. He brought in Bergvall. The only 2 players that had an impact were Vicario and Van de Ven. But the only 2 that really we say, you know what?
What I mean is, after a season in the Premier League, he's never managed in the Premier League. He's had a full season to assess the squad, the teams he's coming up against, home and away, how teams set themselves up, the fan base, because he's obviously got the backlash from the fan base. I think now he's got a clearer vision and a clearer mind of what needs to happen. So will he fix those puzzles completely this summer? Of course he won't. But I just think we'll be better come September the 1st. Whether that takes us to top 4, whether that takes us to an FA Cup win, who knows? But
good evening, Matthew. I don't have an answer for that.
Bring that guest on the show. Alexa, come on the show.
But do you know what I mean? I just personally think we'll be better, Stan. That's all we can hope for ultimately. Do we have all the answers? Of course we don't. Does Ange have all the answers? Of course he doesn't. But surely, still, we've signed up for Ange. I've signed up for Ange. He signed a 4-year contract. Let him make mistakes. And along the way, he may stumble.
We can't be signing Timo Werner. Like, this was my non-negotiable. I said I'll back him. I'll give him. I remember I said I'll give him till December, whatever he does. But there's one thing I'm not going to tolerate, and that is signing. That was the only caveat I had to anything.
Mistake. It's a mistake. Still, it's a mistake. There's no doubt. I'm not saying it's not a mistake, but let's continue.
Matt, mistakes cost us, and this is going to cost us, and it's on his watch. They've done it again. This is my whole issue with it, and like the fact you're saying it's a mistake. Well, now we're stuck with that mistake for a year. And I just lose a lot of confidence because we've started on the wrong foot. And it was, sometimes start as you mean to go on. And I fear this transfer window. The players we're linked to, like the left back at Luton. Oh, but he's better than Ben Davies, but he's not good enough. He's not at the levels.
I agree totally with you. But for me, all I think is if we can somehow, in spite of Levy, because I still think this is all in spite of Levy. I'm not saying Ange's toughest opponent, most aggressive opponent is Levy. It's not Guardiola. It's not Liverpool. It's not Chelsea. It's not Arsenal. His most formidable opponent is Daniel Levy. So whatever success he gets or brings will be in spite of Levy. It won't be with Levy because we know he will have major obstacles in front of him. For every Gedson Fernandes, there's a Bruno Fernandes. For every Sadio Mane, he gives us Sissoko. For every Gary Cahill, he gives us Nelson. For every Tevez, he gives us Luis Saha. So we've got 24 years of this history. I understand it, guys. I'm not here. I'm not blinkered. I totally get the frustration. I'm just hoping with all those pitfalls and all those obstacles, I'm still hoping Ange gets through the cracks and somehow we get to a 2016 period where we're close. Maybe we get a bit of luck along the way, but that's all I'm hoping, because Poch had the same obstacles, but slowly but surely he clicked a Kyle Walker in, he clicked in a Dembele, he moved Dembele from right midfield, moved him into midfield, he moved Dyer out, he put in Victor Wanyama, he put Vertonghen, all of a sudden he signed Toby, all of a sudden in a year it was like, oh my gosh. Then Harry Kane came through the ranks. We had Nacer Chadli. He moved Nacer Chadli, put Son in. It just clicked, and I'm just hoping. Yes, it might be the Brummy pipe I'm smoking. Somebody commented, which is quite funny. I'm just hoping Ange just stumbles. He just stumbles on 5 or 6 combinations, and we get momentum. And look, we've still got formidable things in front of us, but who knows? Who knows?
Got a super chat from a user who says, we'll lose Dragusin, bring in one Madison type signing, and then complain we're unable to offer the Deadwood. It's the same old, no one wants our players. I think a big problem is that a lot of clubs don't have money now. So it's hard to even sell players because clubs don't have the money, which is more important to make sure you sign the right players. So you're not stuck with players then that you can't sell. Matt, what did you make of this? All right. Romero, he spoke, and he said he's not thinking about leaving Spurs, but admits he does analyse offers he's received from other clubs. The truth is that I'm fine, but for now, I'm not thinking about the transfers. I'm thinking about preparing myself these days to get to the national team in the best way possible, which is the next step I have. The things that come up at the moment are obviously always analysed, but I'm not thinking about the future. I'm thinking about the national team. Now that I have the Copa America, I will always try to make the national team to the top, and then we see what happens. Sounds a little bit worrying, Matt.
I don't think there's anything to see here. I really don't think there's anything to see here. I think he's probably had a microphone shoved in his face wherever he is, and I don't think there's anything to see here. I think he's on. If my memory serves me right, I think he's still got 3 years left on his contract. Nothing to see here, for me personally. I don't think there's any. Yeah, nothing to see.
Why can't he say, "I'm happy at Spurs. I'm enjoying my time. A lot of work to do this summer. As soon as I come back from Copa America, I'll be thinking about Tottenham, focusing on improving and looking forward to next season." Instead, he's talking about, I analyse offers. I'm not thinking about the transfers just yet. I'm thinking about my future with the national team. It's almost like he's kicked the can down the road.
For me, honestly, I just don't.
Do you think he's upset? Do you think he's upset that Timo Werner's on higher wages?
Do you want me to go along with your stuff? Do you want me to?
No, I'm joking.
Look, for me, I thought he was very good this season. Very good. I think he's ironed out 1 or 2 of the creases that he had in his game. I think he's a lot more patient on a 1v1. And I think he's got that no-nonsense South American DNA. You know, he takes the man, the ball, the lot. I think he's so important to how we set ourselves up. He makes the forward think. If your touch isn't right around him, he's taking a lot. You know, your first touch has to be impeccable around him because he's coming to take you. I like his mindset. He's a winner. Romero is a winner, and we think we need 2 or 3 more with that mindset. The one thing you can't ever accuse Romero of not wanting to win. Midweek, Saturday. I know the suggestion is he's more interested in playing for Argentina than Spurs, but I think if you could sprinkle some of his mentality on 2 or 3 of these other players, we'd be a far better outfit.
We'll see what happens to that one. I remember people saying when we signed Dragusin that he's coming in to be the Romero replacement. And I thought, really? We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's one of those where you can't ignore it, but you can't take it too seriously.
Look, they're on international duty still. They get a mic shoved in front of them. How many times have players said something and then had to retract it and say, nothing to see here?
Yeah, but quite often, though, when the mic's put in front of Sonny, he always says, I need to do better at Spurs or enjoying it. Yeah, had a good season. It's always good energy about the club, whereas Romero's not once mentioned Spurs. He's not once mentioned about what he's doing there. I look at everything and I'm not quite thinking about that yet. Copa America first, and then we'll look at it. It's almost like he's saying, look, I'm a Spurs player, but if you want to come and get me, I'm kind of here. So I think he's put himself in the window a little bit there. Let me ask you a question. If you weren't a Spurs fan, say you're a player and you weren't a Spurs fan, where would your mind be at now? With what? You play for Spurs, but you're not a Spurs fan, right? And you're one of the main players in the team. Would you be happy at Spurs? Would you be nonplussed? Or would you be looking to move? Well, if I saw Timo Werner coming in, I've got questions about the ambition. No, you're asking me, like, for real. If I saw Timo Werner come in, if I see Richarlison as my striker, if I see Skip and Højbjerg, if I look around at the squad and I'm an ambitious player, I'd be thinking, this doesn't work for me. I need to see something much better. In fact, this super chat sums it up. A user. Spot on. Romero saying, sort your shit out or I'm out. That's what I would be thinking. That's exactly what Harry Kane was thinking for quite a while. And then when Man City kind of made the inquiry, he wanted out. And then he had to wait a couple more years because of the contract situation. But I think that's kind of, if I was Richarlison, I'd be like, I'm happy here. I'm stealing a living. I'm not that good and they're paying me. It's great. If I'm Timo Werner, I'm loving life. I'm 29. I'm not that good. I'm the third highest paid playing the club. I don't even have to score goals and they keep me. Yeah, I am staying here for life. A bit like Ben Davies. He's not going to get a better gig than the Spurs. Ben Davies will never play for a bigger club than Spurs. Of course he wants to stay here.
Unless Bayern Munich coming for him.
The only one I've never understood is Heung-min Son, why he stayed. Because I actually think his loyalty is his downfall. I think if he left and went to any bigger club, he would have won silverware. I admire his loyalty. I respect him. I think Sonny's will go down as a legend at Spurs because he's given us everything, right? But he's the only one I've never understood because all the best players, the Bales, the Modric, the Berbatovs, the Kyle Walkers, the Carricks, the Christian Eriksen. And by the way, Christian Eriksen left. He's won Serie A with Inter. He won the Carabao Cup with Man United last year. He's won the FA Cup with Man United this year. He's won a trophy almost every year since he's left us. So players look at that. The good players look at that. So if you're a good player at Spurs, I think you're looking at it right now and you're thinking, I'm looking around. Will I leave right now? Probably not. But in a year or two, yeah, if you haven't fixed up, I'm gone. And I think that's what will happen, especially with Van de Ven. I think Van de Ven, if he does what he done last year again, we're gonna be in for a battle to keep him. I think, especially if we don't win anything, Matt. If we don't, put some trophies in the cabinet, which some fans say we're entitled to think that. Okay, well, then don't cry when the best players leave because they're entitled to leave as well. Then.
Yeah,
that's me answering your question. How would I think?
There is a culture. There is a culture at Tottenham that is, and also ran. You know, just be in the conversation, and that's what needs to change. And unfortunately, the question, will that ever change under Levy's watch? Because he's got comfortable with the background. In the background is the stadium, the training ground, the go-karting, the concerts, the hotels, hotels are going to cost 65 million to build, by the way. So all these things are now almost superseding the football. So once players get to a level where they say, do you know what? I'm going away with my international team, and they're talking about Champions League, and they're talking about A, B, and C, and I'm kind of finishing 5th and 6th. So it spreads, and you know,
and our fans want us to lose against Man City.
Well, you know, and players talk amongst each other and say, look, you know, what you're doing at Tottenham, you know, I can get you at AC Milan, I can get you at Man City, and they talk inside trading, and before you know
Matt,
that's how bids happen.
100%. Look at Carl
Yeah,
Walker. Every time he played for England, he meets up with his old buddy Harry Kane. Every time they meet up, Carl Walker's won another trophy, and Kane must be thinking, I'm better than you, and you've won everything. Like, what have I done? So
absolutely. And they rib each other. They will rib each other about, you know, let's get your trophies out of your bag. And obviously Kane must be sat there twiddling his thumb. So Van der Ven, if it hasn't already started, it will start. Van Dijk and all them will be in his ear roll. What are you doing at Tottenham? You get yourself down with us, and that'll all start.
Let's go to some questions, Matt. Let's go to some questions. We've got quite a few questions. I'll just take the ones that we haven't spoken about. So the ones about Timo, we won't really do because we spoke about it already. Yeah, there's a Marcus Edward one. We spoke about that. Sorry, guys. I'm just reading through the questions. I should have done this before the show, really. There's one question here that said, if we got Levy out, who could we replace him with that would elevate us to win trophies? I think this is such an impossible question to answer. You know, it's almost saying like, who do you want? Who do you want instead of Levy? Show me who wants to buy the club first, and then I'll tell you. Because I could say to you, I want Elon Musk. And then someone will say, oh, I've done a background search on him. He's dodgy at this, he's dodgy at that. For me, I actually think the ideal chairman for Spurs right now, from what I'm seeing in world football, that could fit in line with how we operate. You're going to hate this, everyone, right? You might want to turn down your volume, everyone. It's Stan Kroenke. He's got a background of winning trophies. He's won the Super Bowl with the LA Rams. He's won the NBA championship. I can't remember the name of the team. I think it's the Denver Nuggets. He's won the NFL, the Stanley Cup. I think it's the Colorado Avalanche. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's won the Lacrosse Cup. So the sports franchises he's invested in have all won the major title. He's on the brink of doing the same with Arsenal. So he's got a pedigree of winning in sports. He's got the formula of winning in sports and building the team to do it. And he backs the managers. I hate to say it, that is probably the best suited chairman for Tottenham Hotspur. Someone that's there to win trophies, that takes pride in winning silverware, that wants to be the best in that sporting field. You know, if Stan Kroenke became manager of Tottenham, would I be disappointed? And I don't know, have Arsenal done anything unethical? Have they broken any financial rules? I don't think they have. So that would please all the Levianers that defend him because of his ethics. I think that's more likely. That, in fact, Matt, that's who I would go for, ideally, that type of a chairman, that type of an ownership. And they talk to the fans. Do you know, even at the end of the season, I mean, I really hate Arsenal with a passion. But their chairman came out and said before the last game of the season, while we're undoubtedly proud of the progress we've made, I want to be clear that no one at the club will stand still. However things finish today, we're all working behind the scenes. That's reassuring. That's keeping everyone on board. It's, you know, we're going to go again. We've got another stage of the plans that we're going to invest in and try and go to that next step. You haven't heard a word from Scott Munn. We haven't heard a word from Daniel Levy. We haven't heard a word from Joe Lewis. We haven't heard a word from Johan Lange, Paratici, Donna Cullen. Instead, the manager's there. Oh, we're going to challenge for the league next year. Oh, I've got ambition. Doesn't matter what you think. I need to know what the owners think because they're the ones that are going to have to back it. So that would be my answer to it. Have you got a particular chairman in mind, Matt? Or
yeah, I think the Arsenal is a good example. I think
hate saying that, man. Hate saying that, but it's true.
No, it's a good example.
It's true.
Living in the Midlands, I think the Aston Villa ownership model, you don't hear from them that much, but when they do, it's informative, it's concise, and it's precise. So when Jack Grealish was sold for 100 million, people were up in arms, and they posted a video to say, look, we put 100 million buyout clause in his contract, thinking no club would reach it. Man City reached it. We then offered him a higher salary for him to stay, but his heart was set on the move. So reluctantly, we did the deal. But be assured, all that money will be reinvested into the squad. And lo and behold, Bailey came in, and so on and so on and so on with that money. So I have Villa friends and like they were gutted when Grealish left, but they were like, fair play. The owners put a video with his face explaining the reasons why the deal happened. So I think I've said to you before, Stel, it's an abusive relationship. We're in an abusive relationship with Tottenham Hotspur, and it's like the more times that we kind of want to walk away, we stay. You know, Daniel Levy is the abusive partner that you want to walk away from, but you can't because he has the keys to Tottenham. It's just, if we win, it will be in spite of Daniel Levy, not with Daniel Levy. That's been my impression of the ownership model, because as much as we have spent a decent chunk of money, he never goes that extra step. That Fernandez signing that's going to be the locksmith, or the Tevez signing that's going to get you over the line. He'll always do the cautious thing and go and bring a free transfer in instead. And Trossard, he'll go and get you Danjuma. That will always be our Achilles heel. So good luck to Ange, but he's in big company. Jose, Conte, Pochettino, none of them won trophies at Spurs. Let's be honest, the manager who won a trophy under Levy got sacked 4 months later, which is Wande Ramos. So
yeah, it's the repetitive pattern of what happens at this club. This is why James Flower made a good comment last night where he was saying, if you say Ange out, you're deflecting away from Daniel Levy when the real problem is him. Whereas I was saying to James, I agree with you, James. My issue is the manager's also illicit to the problem because he's saying yes to these players that simply don't cut it. You know, it's got to come from all angles, the problem. But yeah, it does start at the top. There's no doubt. We've said it 1,000 times on the show. Yes, I bought 10,000 fake subscribers and I inherited 2,000 subscribers. Absolutely right. I cheated. I'm a cheat. Now what? Add that to the list of accusations against me. I'm a fraudster as well now, as well as being everything else under the sun. Whatever tickles your fancy. Can you please make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that I don't have to pay. I don't have to pay to buy you, if that's okay. Let's do another question. Yeah, it's a lot about Werner. I've done quite a few Werners. Marcus Edwards. Okay, here's a good one. I'd like you to bring up the youth pathway topic. Could you see any of the Premier League 2 under-21 winning team? Maybe Mikey Moore. Maybe Mikey Moore's actually an under-21, but they play him up sometimes. Breaking through next season. And if so, who are the most likely candidates? Because I'd rather spend the 120 to 150 million pound budget on 3 standout players that improve our starting 11 and bolster the squad with youth players instead than get average players in that we end up struggling to move on. That's why I don't like the Werner situation. Not my first pick, although I understand it. Yeah, listen, this is exactly what I've said before. This comes from Paul, this question. Matt, do you want to answer that first, or do you want me to go?
I think you're more, because you've obviously watched
the youth,
a few more of the youth, and you obviously coached with one or two of the Tottenham coaches. So take it away.
Yeah. All right. So for me, I've watched the under-21s play. There's only 2 players that I thought maybe have got something about them in the under-21s, and that was Tyrese Hall and Donnelly. They look like 2 players that might do something. Do I think they're ready? No. Would I rather they come into the squad instead of Timo Werner, and over the next couple of years we evolve them, develop them, and see if they can become the next Kane, the next Ledley King and whatnot? Yeah, I do. I'd much rather take that approach, because for me, that's what a build is, not bringing in a player on a 1-year loan, doesn't do that great, comes back in on loan again. That's not a build. That's just plugging gaps that are going to, the leak is going to burst again. You're just covering the leak with a plaster. So I would rather sign 3 top players that Matt thinks we're still going to make, by the way. I just want to say Matt thinks we are going to make those signings. So I would rather sign 3 top players and not bring Marcus Edwards back, not bring Timo Werner in, and instead bring him through a Tyrese or Donnelly. Although I don't think any of the under-21s are ready from what I've seen. Not this jump. That said, Mikey Moore does look like a top player. Like, he genuinely looks the real deal. He's someone that we can genuinely call one of our own. He's got all the makings and all the signs of a player that could push on and do something big. Whether he does it at Spurs or not, he's going to do it somewhere. So, for my opinion, he's going to make it. I don't know if he'll make it at Spurs. I hope he does, because it looks like he's got the whole package. Problem is, he's an under 18. He's still very young. He's that 16, 17 age. I know people say, oh, but Wayne Rooney was amazing when he came on the scene. He hasn't got the physicality of Wayne Rooney. He hasn't got the physical stature of Wayne Rooney. So I don't know if we can talk about him like that. Definitely, in 2 years' time, Mikey Moore should be playing for this club. 18, 19? I mean, Pape Sarr, how old was he when he started for Spurs? 19, 20, something like that? There's no reason why Mikey Moore can't do it. So I'll probably have Mikey Moore in the squad, so he gets the odd 5 minutes here. Maybe if we play, I don't know, Blackpool or Bristol City in the Carabao Cup, yeah, give Mikey Moore maybe 20 minutes. So I would do that, but I wouldn't give him as much game time as what Tyrese and Donnelly should get. That's my view on it. I agree with Paul. That's the approach I would take. What do you think, Matt? Are you ready to do that as a fan, or would you rather we keep bringing in the Werners and the Marcus Edwards and plus the good players you think?
Yeah, it's a no and a no. I think we've covered Werner. He wouldn't be in the shopping basket. Neither would Marcus Edwards. The ages are Mikey Moore being 16. I don't know if he's physically at the level to play in the Premier League, but the talent is obviously there to see, so that's good. He's one for the future. Donnelly, Santiago, Ashley Phillips. I think we are bringing in players that I think can make an impact in the next 18 months, 2 years, which is obviously bodes well for the future. I'm just concerned with their development, because they're at that precarious age now where a bad injury or bad advice could send them down the wrong path. So I just hope they stay healthy. I hope they stay motivated and determined. I'm hearing great things about Lancashire as well. He looks how old's that Lancashire? Is he 18?
No, he's older than that. I think he's 1 year older. I could be wrong.
19. He looks like an absolute unit up front. So again, hearing good things about him. I've not watched much of him, just a little bit on YouTube, but I'm hearing good things about Lancashire. So look, if they stay healthy, stay determined, stay focused, get good parents around them, hopefully they can make an impact in the next 2 seasons at Tottenham and save us some money.
Do you know, Matt, I've missed out another player that I definitely think needs to be playing next season for us. Whether it's regular minutes or just some more game time, but definitely he has to play for us, in my opinion, is that Ashley Phillips pre-season. You know what? He caught my eye. There's a player there. That Ashley Phillips we signed, there's a player there. He reads the game. He's comfortable on the ball, good in possession, forward, progressive on the play. Made 1 or 2 good interceptions and blocks. Look, I don't want to go off that one game because, I mean, that's dangerous. But I saw the foundations of a good, and he's big. He's a big player, that Phillips.
6'4".
Yeah.
I've told you before, a guy I played with coaches at Birmingham City, and he was one of the coaches under Tony Mowbray. Tony Mowbray's just left Blues, and Tony Mowbray said to him that Tottenham have got a kid that will play for England, and he managed him at Blackburn. Said that kid will play for England. So listen, I think I mentioned him earlier in the year, and you wasn't so sure about him, but I've heard on good authority that he's the real deal. Ashley Phillips is the real. And look, Stel, you pick yourself. You get to a level, you make yourself like impossible to leave out. And that's the cream rises to the top. So Ashley Phillips will pick himself. He'll be that outstanding that you have to play him. That's what Harry Kane did. That's what Van der Ven did. That's what Rooney did. That's what Joe Cole did. Says Fabregas. They just make themselves 17, whatever age, he's got to play. Ledley King made his debut at 18. They get the shirt and they keep it. And I think when Ashley Phillips finally makes that breakthrough, I think he'll keep that shirt. And then we won't be talking about Romero.
Well, time will tell. But I do think there's a player there for sure. There's one comment here whilst you're speaking that I circled. This one, Colin Turner. The only reason I think Werner is back for 1 year only is to help bring Mikey Moore through gradually. Donnelly, yes. Tyrese Hall. Colin, when you say this, do you mean to teach them? Because if he does, I'm alarmed. I don't want Timo Werner teaching any of our young players. I want every youngster as far away as possible from Timo Werner. I'd rather they learn from Bentancur, Van der Ven, and Heung-min Son. I don't know if that's what you meant, or whether you meant whilst they're coming in, Werner can play in, and then the youth player comes in as a rotation for the young kids. Then okay, I kind of see where you're going with that. I think that's what you meant, like in terms of rotation, not to teach them. Because if it's to teach them, the kids are going to go to pot. That would be. Lancashire's just turned 19, Matt.
Yeah, he looks a unit.
Yeah, that's what you meant. It's less pressure on more. Okay, I get it. Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. Rotational. I get it. Matt, I think. Let me see if there's one more question on Twitter, because I did the YouTube ones. There's a few. Interesting. This is Spurs related, but it's not about football, so to speak. But do you think the hierarchy of Spurs is running the PR, and they are in contact directly with some of the popular social media account and YouTube channels? The way these channels are justifying and backing the ownership of madness, I don't believe they do it without purpose. Do you think the club influences some of our social media platforms, Matt? Do you think they're working almost together, so to speak?
No, look, I have the utmost respect for every Tottenham fan. You know, I'm not here to get involved in any war of words, and people have their motivation. And if their motivation is for a future opportunity, and they feel that speaking out might jeopardize that opportunity, then that's their gift. But I personally believe that maybe one or two might think, if I go in too heavy or too honestly on certain things, it might come back to haunt me at a later date, and that's their gift. I don't use, you know, you invite me on the show, so I don't have any financial motivations to do this. So I just speak from. It's quite interesting, actually. Somebody earlier made a comment that Matt, you're on the wrong show. You should be on. I won't use the name, but there was another. It did make me chuckle.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't put it up. I saw it.
Yeah. I won't mention the other show, but I think it's just to demonstrate that me and Stel get on, but we don't always have the same point of view on certain things, and it's being able to speak respectfully when you agree and disagree.
Matt,
maybe.
Do you know what it is?
Sorry.
Do you know what it is? We get accused by the haters. So like when you can't debate a point, you've got to come up with a story, whether it's how you've grown your channel, your personal background, your behavior, and another one that it's just constantly, let's fire as much as we can at them because we don't like that these channels exist. They don't like that our channel exists. Is you're an echo chamber. You all say the same thing. Every single week, Matt and I pretty much agree on half the topics. And Matt is classed as the more optimistic, super positive. You should be on other shows where they are like that. And I'm classed as the Stel, you're negative, or the real one, whatever you want to call it, right? Who cares? I don't care. This is not an echo chamber channel. I've said it all along. It just so happens that a lot of us don't like the board. But the guests, I
agree with that.
I let most people come on the channel and have their say, and I don't let them. I don't control what they say either. If people from those other channels want to come on, they're all welcome. They choose not to come here though. They choose, and I think part of it is fear. Part of it is because their friends have told them don't do it, otherwise I won't speak to you. But okay, look, each them. You know, that's what I do. Like. I just do me, but Matt is definitely one of the most positive people I think out there, and I don't have an issue with it, man. Good. I just don't know how he does it. I don't know how you do it, Matt, because like this whole Timo thing, you're still finding a way to say, look, we're going to be all right. I'm like, no, man, this is going downhill from here. You know.
Look, you know, with the 2016 squad, we still had Kevin Wimmer. You know, we still had one or two duds in that squad. So this is what I mean, that in spite of the average signing in Timo Werner, I'm still optimistic that we will still find 3 pieces of the jigsaw to make us better next season, and that's all. Better next season. That doesn't entitle us to a cup win or a Europa win or a Premier League win. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying to be better, stay in our lane, focus on what we're good at, focus on what we're not good at, and work accordingly. And that's all we can do. We've got a manager that's seen a season from start to finish, though. We haven't had that since 2019. So, you know, let's grab the tiny yards. Let's just grab the tiny yards and see where it takes us. And it's not I think somebody said earlier, is that what we've become? Look, I'm not suggesting that, we are a bad club or a poor club. I'm just trying to be realistic to say, look, this guy has had a full season to look at the squad, look at where we're strong, look at where we're weak. He's been able to sit down with the recruitment team and hopefully draw up a list of targets that are achievable. Hopefully those conversations have happened before now. Maybe some of those will come to fruition. To caveat that, Stel will say, but Matt, we still signed Timo Werner. That's the disappointment. I can't hide that at all. That has been a very, very bad signing for us. But if we sprinkle in a few more gems alongside that, who cares?
We're going to find out. Steve, just to let you know, we're going to wrap up in 5 minutes. So next week, though, for sure. I did message you today next week. There's one comment here I just quickly want to cover. Then we'll go to the last question. Philip, you say, Stel, you don't insult Matt the way you do other fans who disagree with you. That's because, one, I don't insult them unless they insult me. Did you ever hear Matt call me an effing idiot, entitled, a moron, abusing people, harass? Does Matt accuse me of anything other than to attack my opinions? No. And do you ever see me do it back to Matt? We attack football views. I can't say that's the same for others, but that's the problem with social media. It gets personal and people attack the person, not the attack the man, not the argument. And then I just hit back. So just to put that one to bed. The last question is, if the worst Man United Premier team, and they are the worst team because no Man United team has ever finished 8th or below in Premier League history. So if that's the basis of saying they're the worst Man United team, if they can win a trophy, why can't Spurs? I put that question to the panel because no one else seems to answer. The Levy-in lot can't answer, but it's not even about the Levy-in, it's just in general. Matt, do you know one thing I've noticed? You see certain teams like Man United and Arsenal, even I think Wigan many years ago, they're not the best team. The season Arsenal won the FA Cup with Arteta, they also finished 8th. But in that final, they raised the levels. You know a bit how this season, we weren't better than Man City. Man City are better than us, but the second to last game, we raised the levels. And we could have easily got a 1-1 draw in that game. We could have done it. All right, we didn't. We go missing in finals. We go missing in finals. Is it because we haven't got those special players? Or is it because we just don't raise the level for whatever reason? Because that Man United team had no right to be Man City. They deserved it on the day. Arsenal weren't better than Chelsea the year they won it, but Arsenal on the day, they found a notch. Okay, Chelsea went down to 10 men. That kind of helped. But we don't seem to raise that level. What do you make of it? Or do you think it's something different than what I've described?
I think some of it's mental stuff. I think we certainly have a mental block when we get to finals. We seem to not have that freedom to express ourselves in final. We play very much within ourselves. Obviously, the last final, we had a rookie in charge. So you could have managed Tottenham in that game, Stel, and probably set us up better than Ryan Mason. So taking the Ryan Mason final to one side.
Yeah, that was Levy's fault. That final's all on Levy. He cost us that one.
Yeah, I mean, to put a rookie in that
Matt,
seat.
It was suicide. It was football suicide.
I mean,
it was crazy.
I just don't. These are the things. People talking about Richarlison and whatever else. When he has to make a decision, Levy, he's not backward in coming forward. If he wants Richarlison out the door, Richarlison will be out the door. If you read Peter Crouch's book, he wanted to stay at Spurs, and Levy basically said to him, You won't have a squad number. You won't be getting changed in the first team dressing room. You'll be with the kids. You're going to Stoke. So when Levy wants to be ruthless, he's ruthless. So I don't understand why. But sorry, I'll rephrase that. I do understand why, because his focus isn't on the trophies. He's not a football man. He's not a football man. His interests are in other things. So the finals and whatever else. I remember Pochettino talking about the Champions League final, and he said that when they turned up, he said Levy and the senior, they were taking selfies and photos like tourists. This is before the final, and he was like, Pochettino in his mind was like, we're here to play and win a final. Well, Levy was more like, this is Disneyland. And he kind of, the atmosphere, everything was wrong about that final, he said. He kind of realised that Tottenham aren't here to win. They're not here to kind of, you don't play a final, you win it. And we just don't have that, we don't have that mindset. And it spreads, you work for a company style. If you're in sales, you have the sales director, you have KPIs, you have targets, you have deadlines, you have, everything's set up to what are you going to do. I just know at Spurs, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's just participate, be there or thereabouts, and it sprinkles onto the team.
No, you're right. You're right. It's the culture. It's the company culture. Maz made a good point on one of the Monday shows where he said the culture is set from the top. When Steve Jobs built Apple, as soon as he was kicked out the company, Apple collapsed. They begged him to come back. And when he came back, look at Apple now, right? That culture, that winning, pioneering culture all came from Steve Jobs. And that is massively lacking under this ownership in abundance for football. For profit, architecture, land, development, they're champions. But for football, they haven't got that culture. And you feel it when you go to Hotspur Way. Whenever I go to Hotspur Way and I compare it to London Colney, I compare it to Cobham, so Chelsea, Arsenal, Carrington, Man United, even West Ham's ground, training facilities. Actually not so much West Ham, not West Ham. When you go into those other clubs, you feel football. You feel there's a smell of like history in the air of we want success here. We're here. This is about football. When you go to Hotspur Way, it's like an investment banker's corporate retreat, like a luxury spa center where you go there. Do you know what? Let's just unwind. Let's just get our health back. Let's recharge the batteries. That's the kind of feeling I get when I go there. I don't get that feeling at the other clubs. And I think that's the culture trickling down into the hallways, into the corridors. I don't think the coaches are like that. And I'm not going to say necessarily the players are like that, but the environment certainly feels that way. And I think that environment affects us in key moments. I think that's the environment that needs to change.
That ruthlessness style, that win at all costs. That is, non-negotiable.
That's not a Spurs. That's not a Spurs.
It's not in the makeup. And the pacifiers will talk about Levy's not the manager, but when Chelsea go after a player, they go after that player, They may pay 5 million, 10 million pounds more, but they get that player. When Man City, more often than not, go after a player, when Liverpool go after a player, when Villa go after a player, it's with a purpose, There's no kind of messing about or less messing about than us. We seem to, it's just like the football club. We register our interest, we're monitoring. How much do you want? 10 million. Well, we'll give you 5 million. We play at things, and it's just...
Mate, Matt, that's it. Spot on. The smell of ambition isn't there. It's like when I used to work in Harrods during my student days. I used to work in Harrods during the summer. I worked in sales there. It smelt of luxury. It felt of luxury. It gave the vibe of we are the top superstore. We are the Queens, the royal family super. it just felt everything. What you touch, the way they ran the operation, even the canteen for the staff, even how that operated, it was top. We want to be the best at everything we do. That's what I mean. It's the smell. It's the smell of what you're trying to achieve. And at Spurs, it doesn't smell that way. Even when you go to Spurs on a match day, it's like a day out, Matt. It smells like a day out. You know, that could be in America, it could be in Australia, it could be in I don't know, Spain. It's a day out. You know, we're just gonna go.
Bill Nicholson, Jimmy Greaves, Glenn Hoddle. There's no statue, there's no monument to our greatest ever football people at the club. You know, if you're building this Titanic of a football club, this beast of a machine, you do not have any significance to some of the greatest people to walk through the corridors of Tottenham Hotspur. It's obvious, you know, the more, look, as I keep saying, it's an abusive relationship style. It's just, we keep going back. We keep going back. I keep buying the merchandise. I keep going back.
By the way, this person here that says, kind of bantering Man United fans. I'll tell you what, I went to Old Trafford last season away, and the stadium is falling apart. It's an absolute, it's not in great nick. But when you go to Old Trafford, as soon as you see the stadium and you see Manchester United lit up in red letters, you see the statues of all their famous players and managers, and you see how the fans are outside the stadium, mate, you know you're at greatness.
It's a football
you know
club.
You're at historical greatness.
It's a football club, you know?
Okay, you feel it. You feel it, mate. You feel that there's history there. You feel it. Again, it's something you can't describe. It's something you have to feel to understand it. But anyway, look, that's what I think it is. I think until the culture changes, Spurs are going to be, we've got all the gear, but no idea.
Less Beyonce and more Chesney Hawk concerts. That's what we need at Tottenham.
Chesney Hawks?
Yeah.
Why Chesney Hawks?
Well, that would be fitting with the playing side. You know, we signed Beyonce and Travis Scott and, you know, Guns N' Roses and Pink. We signed all the A-listers for the concerts. We never signed Chesney Hawks for the stadiums or the concerts, do we? So everything outside of football is top tier.
Oh, right. I'm with you now. Okay.
It's top tier, yeah? We make sure it's Red Hot Chili Peppers. We make sure it's Beyonce. We never have a Chesney Hawks concert or, you know, X Factor concerts there. They're always A-listers. But as football fans, we have a Timo Werner. We have a Gedson Fernandes. There's no parallel.
Why did we sign Gedson Fernandes? What the hell was that about, man? Like, what were we actually thinking with that deal?
It's frantic. When someone said we've signed Fernandes, I was like, yes. And then it was Gedson.
And then we tried to justify, yeah, but look how good he is. He's the next big thing, and he was just crap. It was absolute rubbish. Anyway, look, guys, we're going for almost 2 hours. Thank you so much for tuning in today. About 500 people live throughout the show across all platforms. That's the best viewing figures we've had for this Friday show. So thank you so much, Matt. Big up to you as always for coming on.
No, thanks for the invite.
Got any plans? Any plans for the weekend?
No, just listen, no football. I'm scared to put on Sky Sports News just to see who we are not linked to and whatever else. I'm scared to put on social media just to see what's happening. But no, listen, I'm just going to enjoy it. Looking forward to Champions League tomorrow. See Modric lift. How good was Luka Modric, by the way?
Luka Modric is world class. He's a world class football player. He was brilliant at Spurs, and he just got even better at Real Madrid. He's top player. Good for Croatia as well, man.
Just imagine if he'd have stayed at Spurs. I bet he kicks himself now that he didn't stay at Spurs.
Yeah, I'm sure he's gutted. Did you buy the viewers? No, Mark, we didn't buy the viewers. Luka, a killer. Modric, yes, Luka Modric was a killer. Spot on. In fact, you know, when there's certain passes you teach, there's certain types of passes you teach, and there's one pass where if these are your feet, the ball comes here, and on the inside of your foot, you knock it across your body, and then on the outside of the foot, you push it forward. So it's almost like across you, forward. And you do it just outside the box to feed the striker in. That's called the Luka Modric pass. He's actually got a pass named after him that they teach in academies. And that's the pass I teach. It's the same. You receive it on the inside of one foot, move it across your body, and on the same foot, you switch to the outside of the foot and you knock it forward. It's a 5-10 yard pass. It's essentially receive in a tight space, play a through ball in a tight space. You will see Luka Modric do that so many times. And that's, well, listen, I've always felt if you've got a skill or a move named after you, you're top draw. Hence the Cruyff turn. Right? That is greatness. That is greatness.
Just, he has to be the best outside of the foot passer of the last 20 years.
Oh, mate. Fantastic player. Guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Enjoy the Champions League tomorrow. We'll be back on Monday with our Monday podcast show. If there's any news that breaks during the week, we'll do a show if we sign anyone. Otherwise, we'll be back next Friday, same time, 5 p.m. Matt, have a good one, bro.
And you, have a good one, Stout. And everybody, hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you're not sure you have, press it again. Keep safe, enjoy your weekend, and see you next week. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.